Sub dogs. So I've been talking about getting a Dynojet kit for the CBR for some time now, and I bought one. I've mentioned this in previous videos, so people who've watched my previous videos will already know, but I bought one on eBay from a seller in the States because I couldn't get one in the UK. That was probably about a month or quite a few weeks ago that I bought it, and it arrived in the post. I think it was about a week ago that it arrived. So I've actually, in fact, it was at least a week ago. So I've had it about a week, but because I've been a bit under the weather with the cold and what have you, I've not even really had a chance to have a proper look at it yet. Let alone start on fitting it. To be honest, I'm not sure when I'm going to get it fitted, but I thought I'd at least unbox it and kind of have a look at the different bits and pieces. So it was a bit of a surprise to see that you don't actually seem to get very much for your £100, but I suppose the thing is, it's like, obviously it's a very specialist thing, it's precision engineered, it's very high quality, so don't expect to get, it's more about the quality than the quantity kind of thing. So this is the packet basically. Dynojet Kit. Doesn't actually name the model on the outside of the packet, but it does in the kind of blurb that goes with it. So that's that. There's various instructions and things, and information, kind of fact sheets on installation and troubleshooting and what have you. There's a couple of stickers, and these are kind of like the actual parts. So it comes in like a plastic box like that. I should actually preface this by saying that I've never bought or installed a Dynojet kit before in my life, to be perfectly honest. So I'm a complete Dynojet newbie. And I'm going to need to kind of read all this information and probably look at one or two videos on YouTube about installation before I attempt it. I'm not sure when I'm going to attempt this. I might do it this week, or I might leave it a week because I've got other bits and pieces on as well. But we'll just have to see. I'm not going to make any promises as to, when we're actually going to, when you're actually going to see a video on YouTube about the installation. We'll just have to kind of see how it goes. So what have we got? We've got these needles. Obviously there's 4 of everything because it's 4-cylinder bike. So we've got these needles which they code DNO Delta November Oscar 129. I was a bit concerned when I saw one of them's in a slightly bigger packet. I thought maybe it's a slightly different sized needle, but if you actually hold it up to the others, it's actually the same size. They're all the same size. For some reason one of them is just packeted differently, but so there's 4 of those, and then there's these I think these are like the pilot screws, replacement pilot screws for the carburetors. So you kind of like, they sort of screw onto the underneath of the carburetors and like go onto the bottom of the needles or something. I don't know, to be honest. Obviously I'm a bit of a carburetor sort of rebuild newbie as well, so it's all going to be a bit of a learning curve. So I'm just kind of, putting a toe in the water at the moment. Just kind of having a look at this stuff and getting some idea what it is, and need to kind of take it from there. So we've got 2 lots of different pilots. So there's these DJ118 and there's DJ122, which I think it'll maybe, which one you use on your model will maybe depend on the rest of the setup, like what kind of exhaust you've got and what kind of air filter you've got. This is a stage 1 kit, and according to the blurb, a stage 1 kit is for when you've got a standard airbox and air filter, but a performance exhaust or end cam, which is exactly what I've got. So this is the correct kit for what I'm doing, hopefully, assuming I've not made a mistake somewhere. But there's also the stage 3 kits, and they're supposed to be for when you're using both the performance exhaust and individual cone filters. So what else is in the box? There's also these springs. These seem quite delicate, so I'm not going to take them out just now. I'm just going to leave them There's something there which is just a single. I'm not sure what that is actually. It's like a solid steel something or other. Let's see if I can get it out without damaging those springs. To be honest, I'm not actually sure what that is, but I guess when I read the instructions properly I'll find it out. It's funny, it almost looks like looks like a rifle casing. Imagine you could put a bullet in there, it'd be like a 223 or something. Anyway, right, so that's that. I'll find out what that is. I'm sure it's not a rifle casing, but and then there's these washers, and there's 4 washers, and there's actually only three of those circlip. Is there 3? I think there's only 3. I can only see 3 circlips there, which is slightly concerning, I hope, because I would have thought there should be 4 of everything. So that's a little bit worrying, but maybe, I don't know, maybe there's meant to be 3 instead of 4 for some reason, I don't know. I mean, these are all tiny bits. I'm going to have to be really careful not to lose any of these, because there's sort of things that are so tiny, if you drop something like that on the carpet, I'll never find it again, you know, so... yeah, so I was having a look at the instructions. Just from a kind of troubleshooting point of view, there's a lot of kind of general blurb here. I notice it says for US models only there, which again is a little bit concerning. I'm just hoping it does work on my UK model. To be honest, if it doesn't, I'm not sure what I could have done anyway, because like I say, I couldn't get a kit in the UK anyway. So it says here, for mildly tuned machines using the stock airbox with stock or K&N filter may also be used with a good aftermarket exhaust system. K&N filter hash HA-1992, I don't know what that is. Mildly tuned machine with a stock airbox. So I've got a stock airbox and stock air filter and an aftermarket exhaust. Well, I've got an aftermarket end can. That's the only thing I've got. The exhaust itself is standard. The head isn't that. And it gives you a graph here. It shows you the kind of power gains that you should expect. But I mean, to be honest, if I could even just get mine kind of working, you know, properly at all, that would be good. Parts list, main jets. Right, okay, main jets. So these bits are the main jets, not the idle screws. Okay, right, so main jets DJ118 and DJ122. So there must be a reason why they include 2 different types. There must be something to do with the type of setup that you've got. Maybe the 122 is a bigger one for if you've got a K&N filter or something like that. Fuel needles DNO129, got those. Adjusting washers, yeah, that'll be those, I think. E-clips, slide springs, that'll be the springs. Oh, idle adjustment tool, so that'll be the rifle casing thing. Okay, and then stage 1 instructions. So it gives you kind of instructions here which seem relatively simple at a glance, but well. Remove the carved tops and the slide springs. Remove the slides by threading one of the slide cover screws into the center of the needle retainer, figure A. Right, so that, and pull up gently. Right, so that's to remove the old slide springs. Remove the stock needles and spacers, noting the order of assembly, figure B. So that's like how to get the needles out of the whatever it is they go into, this thing here, which I guess is like the thing that's up at the top of the carb that's like controlled with the vacuum or something, I don't know. 2. Install the Dynojet needles on groove number 3 from the top. Oh, I see, yeah, so they've got grooves on them. They've got little tiny grooves you can probably hardly see in the video. So it's saying groove number 3 from the top, so you count 3 down from the top and put it that far into this plastic thing. I think that's what they're saying. Use all stock spacers, figure C. Not sure I understand that. Install a small Dynojet washers above the E-clip. Install the stock needle retainers with the Dynojet springs. After installing the slides and the carbs, be sure to check slide movement manually. It says 3. Remove the stock main jets and replace with the Dynojet main jets provided. If you're running the stock exhaust, here we go. Right, so if you're running the stock exhaust, install a DJ118 main jets. If you're running an aftermarket exhaust or slip-on with a high flowing baffle, use the DJ122 main jets. Be sure that the jets you're changing are the main jets. Right, okay, well, so it'll be the 122s that I'm using then, because I've got an aftermarket end can, which is fairly loud. Well, not loud, but enough that I think it's probably going to be the 122s I should be fitting. So, step 4, locate the fuel mixture tab, figure C, using the supplied tool DT009. I think that'll be that rifle casing thing. Carefully turn the tabs clockwise until lightly seated, and then back out 2 turns until the best idle is achieved. Right, carefully turn the tabs clockwise until... Oh right, yes, 2 turns, that rings a bell. That's like what I've been calling the pilot screws that you take out 2 turns. I've seen that mentioned on the internet before, backing the screws out 2 turns, so I think I know what that's talking about. I need to try and make sense of this figure C diagram, because I'm not really quite sure what's what. I kind of understand that and that, but I'm not too clear on that. So probably what I'll do is I'll get my Haynes manual out and sort of cross-reference this with the Haynes manual and see if I can get it all figured out. So other interesting stuff we've got here is this sheet here. There's troubleshooting guide questionnaire on the back of this A4 sheet. Essentially what they're asking you to do is, if you've got problems with the running of the bike after you've fitted the kit, you just go through and answer each of these questions. So for example, does the bike idle? Yes, no. If yes, is it rough or smooth? Smooth or rough? If the idle is rough, is it better when the engine is hot or cold? Hot or cold. So you go through and answer these questions, and then what you do is you call the Dynojet number, and one of their technicians will kind of like take all this information down for you and then say you need to try so and so to try and fix it. But hopefully it won't come to that. I'm hoping I should be able to fix it, get it working myself. So adjustments before driving, carb sync and mixture screw adjustments, some general kind of info there. Warning before operating a motorcycle. Proper idle before installation of this kit is required. Starting and idling problems. Well, I don't really have idling problems, and the starting problem I'm fairly sure is not related to the carbs. I don't know, I might be wrong. Low speed and cruising problems, don't really have that. Low speed and cruising problems. Acceleration problems. Alright, so this is the problem that I've got, is acceleration problems. Now this is interesting because what it says here, and I'll read through this, troubleshooting the acceleration curve is where the most time-consuming problems occur. A good rule of thumb is if you have a problem while asking for horsepower, accelerating, climbing a hill, the mixture is rich. If you have a problem while not asking for horsepower, cruising, not accelerating, then mixture is lean. So before you start adjusting the carbs, check these 2 most common problems. Now that's interesting because the problem that I'm having with the CBR is acceleration. And now I think about it, also climbing hills is where it struggles a little bit. And I for some reason I thought that was a problem with it running lean, but according to this, that's caused by it running rich. So perhaps mine's actually running rich. And then it goes on to say, Stage 1 kit was designed with a clean stock filter, not an aftermarket replacement filter. Do not assume that the aftermarket filter is flowing the same as stock. Verify your intake air matches what your base settings were designed for. Verify your intake air matches what your base settings were designed for. Okay, well, I've got a stock air box and a stock air filter, so that should keep it simple. Now look at the exhaust outlet size. If your stock pipes had two 1-inch outlets and you installed a 4:1 with an exhaust outlet that measures 1.5 inch, you're probably not flowing as well as your stock pipes. Simply remove the baffle and test again. Checking the intake and exhaust flow is the key to trouble-free installation. Take an exhaust. Right, okay. Well, my bike's got a 4:1, but the Fireblade has a 4:1 as standard. So I don't think that the exhaust that's on it is going to be any more restrictive as standard. I think if anything it's probably flowing more than standard. So I'm going to work on the basis that my exhaust flowing more and that my intake is standard, so therefore I'm just going to set it up just like a basic stage 1 setup, but probably use the DJ122 what do they call it, main jets rather than the 118s, because, you know, to allow for the ART in can. Engine accelerates until the mid-range, then pauses. Right, this is where it gets more interesting. Engine accelerates until the mid-range, then pauses, stumbles, or shuts down until you back off the throttle. This problem gets worse the higher the gear is used. Right, well, that's definitely the problem that I'm having. It accelerates until mid-range, and then it basically hits a flat spot, and you back off the throttle, and then it's kind of okay, but you can't kind of get past a certain revs because of the flat spot. So it says verify the parameters on the fact sheet are being met. For example, the mains are stage 1 mains if you have a stock airbox. Okay, so I need stage 1 mains. The stage 3 mains are used as individual filters, which I don't have, so at least I've got the right kit anyway. That's the start. Verify the intake and exhaust flow matches those described by Dynojet. Okay, verify the float bolt and the vent tubes are removed. Verify the float bowl vent tubes are removed. Okay, don't quite understand that, but I'm not sure why you would want to run it with anything removed, but I'll have to think about that and see if I can understand what they mean by that. Verify proper installation of part spacers under the needle, etc. as Dynojet recommends, and that your needles and mains are all matched and free of obvious defects. If these items check out, lower the needle down to fix a slight pause or stumble. Lower the needle and install a smaller main jet to fix more severe problems. Right. Engine, then it goes on number 8. Engine accelerates to red line but flattens out, pauses in between shifts or signs off completely. No, that's not really the problem I'm having. Okay, so I mean it's all a bit complicated to get your head around, but I think between this and the Haynes manual and YouTube, I should be able to figure out what I'm doing. I've got a kind of some idea what I'm doing. I mean, obviously for a start I just need to get the bike inside again, get the carburetors out of the bike, strip them down, have a look at them for a start, figure out what goes where, and then kind of refer back to all this kind of stuff and work out what I actually need to do to make it work right, and then kind of get it all back together again. So like I say, I'm not sure when I'm actually going to do this. Hopefully, well, let's say sometime this month. Hopefully should do it sometime this month, but I'm not sure exactly when this month, because I've got other bits and pieces that I need to do as well. But when I do it, I will put a video. I'll put a video up about the actual installation, and we'll actually have a look at the inside of the carbs and see what's what. So I'll do that, and then hopefully once it's done, I'll do another video, a moto vlog, and we should find that the bike should hopefully be running great then. Anyway, that's kind of it really. I've sort of rambled on enough as it is, so Thanks very much for watching.